This is the plaintiff, Michael Simon. He says one day after Hurricane Sandy hit, he was walking his dog Magoo when out of nowhere, the defendant's giant Great Dane and her boxer lunged and bit his dog on the back. Then the dog grabbed Magoo's tail and he was afraid they were going to rip it clear off. When he told her he wanted her to pay for the vet bill, she lifted her shirt, flashed her bra, and grabbed her crotch. Nice. Real nice. He's suing for $4,839.50 for the vet bill and pain and suffering. This is the defendant, Lori. She says her dogs are very playful, and they approached the plaintiff's dog who wasn't on a leash. They began horsing around, and the plaintiff jumped on one of her dogs and started punching him in the chest. The plaintiff's an evil man who told her he wished her sick husband would die. He's trying to take advantage of her, and this is a case of dogs simply being dogs. She's accused of unleashing a firestorm.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Michael Simon, you are suing Lori. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $4,839.50, $839.50 of vet bills, and $4,000 for pain and suffering because, according to you, her dogs attacked your dog. Tell me what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. The morning after the Hurricane Sandy, I took my dog out for a walk. On the way back from the walk, I cut through, there's a path in an elementary school, which was not in session, it was closed. As I got to the playground area, two large dogs came bounding around from the other side. My dog was on his leash. I sensed it was trouble because just the way they were running, and they started snapping, not just the one dog, a large Great Dane, biggest dog I ever saw, snapping and at my dog, and I was just like, trying to pull him away on the leash. The other dog was in the confusion. Finally, I saw the owner come up. I had met them once before.
Just Lori?
Yes.
Okay.
And I turned my head. I said, get a leash on one of them. And I believe she was just playing with the shock collar. I said, it's not working.
Who had the shock collar on?
The Great Dane.
So the shock collar wasn't working?
Apparently not. I had my hand on the collar. When he had him in his mouth, I was over my dog and the Great Dane's head was right here. I had my hand on the collar. He had almost half of it in his mouth. It was like a huge mouth, like an alligator. And I didn't know what to do already. I started punching the Great Dane.
What was she doing while you were doing that?
It was not helping me. I thought you're not supposed to be afraid of your own dog. Jump in there and pull him away. Do something. Right. She said she was hitting the shock collar. Finally, when he let him go, I guess from the punching, I tried to scoop my dog up. He was bloody and slimy. He had actually slipped out of his harness, and I couldn't hold him. So I had to try to get the harness around his neck and to pull away. Got home. They were nice enough to come over. I thought they were nice people. I had some injuries. I had scratches and cuts, and my hand was swelling. But I had felt so much relief when I got to my house. My sons were there, and when they left, I thought they were good neighbors. I said, you can pay the vet bill, and famous last words. I said we could even split it, maybe. I just wanted to be nice. I felt so much relief that my dog was alive, my son's dog. And that I wasn't hurt. I didn't even mind being hurt a little bit. Okay.
And so when's the next time you talk to her?
My wife has some dates down here. 10:30, met Lori and Tony in person. 11:04, she called Lori to discuss. Lori claimed that she would have to pay us back in installments. 11:05, I called Tony to discuss. He was willing to pay half if we did not report the incident to animal control. Now, I consulted with several responsible dog owners. They said it's very important to report it to dog control. For the community's sake, they check the rabies out, and nothing happens to the dog the first time.
When did you report it to animal control?
I can't remember the date.
But it was after. Clearly, she's telling you if you don't go to animal control, then I will pay you. So some time had passed.
Sure, I intended to go to animal control all along. What I didn't do is file a police report because I didn't want to bother the police the day after the hurricane.
Okay. In any event, in the end, you told her, I want you to pay the whole thing, and she told you what?
They cried poverty, they don't have it.
Is it they or Lori? Who are you talking to, both of them?
Well, I spoke to Tony, mostly, I think. Even offering half, and there was no, gesture of the actual payment, no envelope with here, take half, that's all we got. I might have ended it right there.
Okay, now she comes to your house to discuss it with you, and it doesn't go well. What happens?
No, it doesn't. She came over. I don't know what the date was again. I'm sorry. Tearfully, my husband's in the hospital. At this point, I'm trying to be nice. I wish him well. Look, why did you sue us for that much money? I said, look, I had to go to the district court. I was online to file. There's a sign above that says maximum $5,000. I said, why am I filing for $800? I put a 4 in front of the 839.
Why would you, just because you could sue for $5? You're supposed to sue for what you're out.
So much aggravation from them. Yes.
So every lawsuit should be $5,000 because everyone's aggravated.
I never did it before. That was my side.
So you decided to sue for $4,839.50. So then she says to you,
they don't have it, or we haven't paid the mortgage on our house for several months. She worked on me. Finally, to say, all right, I'll pay again. I made the famous statement, we can pay half. They didn't offer me half. She just said, I said, all right, let me just run it by my wife.
Is your wife here?
She put her hand out.
Is your wife here?
No.
Okay, go on.
She put her hand out. I took it reluctantly just to try to end this. I went and so I called my wife at work, and she said, well, no, they're responsible for the whole thing. I called Lori right back in case she was getting the half. And I said, really, you got to pay the whole vet bill. Came back to my house like a Jekyll and Hyde and went off on a lunatic rant without cursing.
No. I want to know exactly what she said and did.
You fat, your little crummy house you have here. Meanwhile, the house is 5 times bigger than ours, and there is a Mercedes in the driveway. Then, like a recalcitrant teenager, carrying on, grab the crotch, right here. I don't know what to do. Making fun of me. I'm wearing some plaid house pants. Look at you in your pajamas. I'm in my house. I was in my house. I didn't ask you to come over. And then lifts her shirt up, revealing a disgusting black brassiere that probably could have been laundered. And I don't know what to do at this point. I'm saying, get out of here. But I said, don't go near her. You don't know what she's going to do if you go near her. I ran inside like a scared kid. Luckily, my son was home, came out, and talked her out to get away.
What happened?
Well, some of that's true, not obviously all of it. I took the dogs to the park. It's a school parking lot. No dogs allowed.
So why are you bringing your dogs in?
I take them there because I have 2 big dogs and I have a small yard. So I take them, I go, I make sure no one's in there, and I let them run.
You take them off leash in a school? They're not even supposed to be out at all?
Correct.
Okay.
No dogs allowed.
Can I just tell you, how do you think it's going for you so far?
Not good.
Okay, so go on.
So they're playing and running. It was the day after the hurricane.
You have a shock collar on the Great Dane. Why is that?
I do. It's a training collar.
Exactly.
And he's 130 pounds.
What does that mean when you have a training collar on a dog?
That he's being trained.
Exactly. Which means that the dog doesn't come when called or stop when ordered to. And then what do? You let your dog loose on that public property that you're not allowed to be on. Okay, go on.
Well, they were running and playing, and everything was fine. And the smaller dog, I also have a boxer. He ran to the end, and then Blue, the Great Dane, he went that way as well. So I started walking to the edge. But by that time, his dog, who was off the leash, came around.
Was your dog off leash?
No, he wasn't. The only time he came off the leash is when all the pulling him away pulled him out of his shock collar from the fight. I have a witness statement. A neighbor came out when he heard the commotion, and he made a statement for me.
Okay, let me hand that to Douglas, please. Okay, so go on.
There was no one else there. It was just him and I. Anyway, so then the big dog was nipping at the little dog. The other
little
dog,
nipping thing.
like this. His mouth. He could open his mouth.
Cute.
He could put
that's
your
so
whole
cute. With the alligator
head.
jaws.
That's right.
This is what happens. You want to know the truth?
That's why you have a shock collar on him.
The shock
he gives a
collar
little
is there
love kiss.
for protection for me.
Okay.
So anyway, he throws himself down on top of his own dog to shield him from my wrath, I suppose. So I was pulling the collar and with my left hand, and I was zapping him with my right hand. I broke my finger in the process. I have a doctor's statement. I have a picture of the cast.
Let me see.
And then he picked himself up and he threw himself onto my dog after punching him. And then I snapped the leash on them both, and I apologized, and I got them in the car, and I went home. The second I got home, I told my husband, we went right back to his house. So we're in their house. I look at the dog is bleeding. So in his house, he says to my husband, we'll split the vet bill 50-50. So I said, no problem. He said it. It was his idea.
He
Fine.
said that.
A couple of days later, on the 6th, she called me and she told me that the dog got 30 stitches and it was on antibiotics. And
You have the vet bills?
He had surgery. It wasn't just like a Bactine and a Band-Aid. They had to put him under.
Pictures with that?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
How many stitches did the dog get?
she told me 30. I remember.
Oh, my Lord.
The plaintiff claims the defendant's dogs, a Great Dane and a boxer, jumped his dog and really went to town. He offered to split the vet costs, then changed his mind, and he says she freaked out and flashed him with a dirty bra. Let's listen.
Have you seen these?
No, I have not. So the wife calls me, I think her name is Marie, Mrs. Simon. She calls me and she tells me that he had 30 stitches and he had, there was antibiotics involved and, they shaved him. That's why it looks so terrible.
No, it isn't the shaving that makes it look bad. It's it that looks bad.
No,
anyway,
my
so
dog
go
bit him.
on now.
I've agreed
At
that.
what point do you go back there to give him the money? Well, he tells you how much
he
it
called
is.
me. His wife called me and she told me that it was $893. And I said, if you talk to your husband, he said we would split the vet bill 50-50. It was an accident. We were both in the park. His dog was off the leash. My dog was off the leash.
Okay, so when you say that to her, what does she say?
She says, not good enough. I want it all. And then we hung up the phone. So then on the 26th, I got a letter asking us to go to small claims court for $4,800. And I'm like, what is up with this guy? So that's when I went over to his house. At first I had
okay, is this your husband?
Yeah, this is what I'm getting to him.
Okay.
First, I drop him off at the hospital. He had a procedure done.
Okay.
I drop him off. I go to Mr. Simon's house and I said to him, why do you want to go to court? We agreed to pay $450.
Did he know you were going to his house?
I think I told him I was going to do it, but I don't know if he thought of it. He was having a procedure, so I don't know where his head was. So
I don't know where your head was. I know where your body wasn't. But,
no, they tell you to go. They call you when the procedure's done.
Okay.
So I go over and I tell him, let's just settle this. I'll go get the money. I'll come back. We end up having a big argument. It's like 20 minutes long.
And what's the argument about?
I said to him, that's a lot of money. I don't really have that kind of money. He said, you're a liar. You live in that big house. You have that Mercedes Benz. I said, you don't even know if that's mine. I could be the tenant that lives in that house. You don't know anything about me. You're a liar. You're a liar. He's just screaming at me. The curse words he was spewing out of his mouth at me.
What was he saying?
You don't pay your mortgage. Well, you think that's the way it should be in America. You don't pay your bills, you hoe. He was going.
You what?
You hoe.
He called you a...
He was calling me every name you could think of. Who talks like this to a person? So I said, let's just split the bill, $450. I'll go to the bank right now and get it.
Why would you offer to pay anything to a guy who just called you a hoe?
Well, because I didn't want to pay him $900. I would have rather paid him $450, half. That's what we agreed on.
So you let the guy call you a hoe and then you're going to go get him money?
What can I do about it? I don't even care. Thank God he's not my husband. That's all I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I tell him I'm going to go to the bank, get the money. I'll be right back. He said he'd call me back. He didn't call me back. I'm wondering what's going on.
What was he going to call you back for?
He was going to call me back to tell me it was okay.
Right.
He must have called his wife, who must
Right.
have kicked him in the ass, and then he was afraid of her.
Right.
So he took it out on me again on the telephone. I should have recorded it. I'm driving.
Wait, why are you driving back to his house when your husband just had a procedure?
Because I was insulted. He's calling me a liar. Yeah.
So go wait. I want to hear what happens. You kick your sick husband out of a moving car.
I cut the bracelet off his wrist.
Yeah, barely. Almost slit his wrist in the process.
I kicked him out.
You came to his house to show him that because you felt like he was calling you a liar about your husband being in a procedure.
But I wanted to show him.
You wanted to prove your husband had been in a procedure.
Correct. I wanted him to believe me that I'm not the things he said because I'm a good person.
No, that's not because you're a good person.
I didn't want him to
person
think that
serves
about
the
me.
homeless in a soup kitchen. A nut goes back to his house.
No.
Which makes me think that you're either a nut.
No.
Are you a nut?
No, ma'am.
Then you're probably not telling me the truth about how it went down.
Oh, that is the truth.
Okay, then you're a nut. Those are the only two options. So you go back and you shake that thing.
And I show him. And he goes, oh, maybe you're not a liar. And I said, thank you. And I said, now I have $450 in my card. Do you want it? And then by that time, his son came out. So the kid said, either bring the $900 or we'll see you in court. So I said, we'll see you in court then. And I left his house.
Oh, are you skipping a few things?
No.
Did you grab your crotch and
He grabbed his crotch.
did you grab yours?
I did not.
Did you lift your shirt?
Ma'am, I did not.
You sure?
Positive.
Judge, we put a hand up that you're supposed to tell the truth here. Can I share
Welcome
a few-
to my world. Do you have a picture of your dogs?
I do.
Your husband, sir, you weren't there on the day this happened, right? Come on up a second. So you're a witness to, he admits it though, that he had originally said splitting it.
We're going to split this thing.
Okay, was there ever any talk about how it happened when you were there?
Just like you've heard in here, it's, trying to grab the dog, him tackling the dog. He said, I may have punched your dog a few times.
It's a beautiful dog. What about the issue of the leash?
No, when we were on the way, she told me his was off the leash, and we've seen him there before with the dog off the leash as well.
But he was on the leash when I walked him on the path through that schoolyard.
And this is an affidavit from a neighbor who says that he came out when he saw the commotion and saw your dog on the leash.
Yes.
What does she say when she lifted her shirt, according to you?
Like right here or something, I don't know. I didn't want to be there.
Dirty old man.
He's a dirty old man. I wouldn't do that. I'm a grown woman.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, does this plaintiff get the full amount of the vet bill back?
Yes, he should get
Why?
the full amount because it was the defendant's fault.
It was the defendant's fault, but the plaintiff shook the defendant's hand.
No, the plaintiff should get the full amount from the defendant because the defendant is liable. It was his dog.
I understand that. It was her dog. I understand that. But the question,
Gentlemen's agreement.
that's the thing.
Shook hands.
They shook hands. So, pardon me?
He should get half.
And that's it, not the full amount.
Correct.
Very good. Going inside the courtroom.
All right. Let's talk about a couple things. You definitely have no business walking your dog through the elementary school, okay? But is that somehow a causation of what happened here? I don't think it is. You definitely have not only no business walking your dogs through the elementary school, but setting loose a dog the size of a horse with a shock collar, which tells me you're still training him, or you have troubles getting him under control. Remember, it's not the dogs. The dogs are animals. They're acting like they're supposed to. What you punish in a court of law is the actions of the owner. I've got your actions where you have this enormous dog with a shock collar on it, which tells me you know damn well you have no business having this dog on public property. And you cannot do that. I find in favor of the plaintiff this case in the amount of $839.50. You don't get an extra $4 because you can. Okay? Good luck, folks.
So Judge Millian finds in favor of the plaintiff here. The defendant steps into the hallway and says, what about this verdict?
It's fair that my dog bit his dog, but he shook my hand, and we made a deal, and I think that's
Yeah, but he had to check with his wife first. Just like he would have to check with you before he makes a real
Let
deal.
my husband-
Initially, he did make a deal with me. He said, how about we split it half and half? And I said, yeah, man to man, he should have lived by that.
Well, how's this going to be prevented from happening again in the future?
We won't take him there anymore.
Right? And keep him on the leash? And,
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Do the right thing.
Right around this way.
Take
All
it.
right? Head right down there. All right, so come on out here. You don't get $4,000 for pain and suffering, but you do get the rest of what you sued for.
I think that's fair. I wish something more could be done about people lying about what happened. And
about flashing their bra and grabbing their crotch,
stuff
you mean?
like that. Yeah, whatever happened, I don't care if I get no money, but I'm not going to lie about it. And she did.
Harvey?
Okay, if you live in a neighborhood where there's an irresponsible dog owner and there's a dog going around biting people or other animals, call the Department of Animal Control in your city. They can come out and ultimately, if they have to, remove the dog from the neighborhood. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.